Aw, yeah, it's David here, and we're back for another match on the Bavaria map, a 2v2 with myself and Luke 15 versus our friends Captain Goat and Major Chicken. And this is going to be one of those matches where we're just having a good old time in the beautiful sunny day. Yes. And you can see Captain Goat is going to be playing as United Provinces, Major Chicken as Sweden. I'm going to be playing as my beloved French troops, and Luke is going to be playing as Prussia. So here we go. We will get things started here shortly. As we can see, my general is definitely enjoying the beautiful sun out in the day. Not a worry in the world. Okay, now I'm gonna basically just start maneuvering up as all the players are, and I'm gonna be positioning my troops here towards the center of the map with my lights, as I don't want to make a head-on assault against the position of Captain Goat right there at that hill, because you'll take massive casualties. And Luke's going to be also pushing up. He's going to be taking most of his forces over to the immediate right. And you can see in the here from the center to the flank next to me, all of his troops. And you can see I'm forming up my lights directly in front of the grove of trees, to the left of the grove of trees under the hill. I'm going to be shifting my lines over because the bulk of their forces are kind of massed to provide for probably fade tactics, where they were planning on taking our assaults and fading back into the hills for protection. You can see they're stacking their lines up. It also provides them with ease of being able to roll their reserve troops to their flanks as well, without taking enemy fire. So it is a good tactic to use, stacking your lines into triple ranks. So you can see here, Luke's going to try a bold move with stakes right behind this light. He's going to try and pull off a charge to get this light unit, but looks like Major Chicken is going to be providing his goons to support that move, and Luke's going to pull out of it. So no action has taken place at this point, just a lot of threats, if you will. Luke is dropping his stakes on the flank for a cav charge, and here you can see from the overhead view our allocations of our troops. We are definitely facing them. They are taking very strategic positions, with Captain Goat taking that hill right to the right of our position. And here you can see the first shots fired on my side. He brings a militia, and I'm going to... So Goat's tactic is to use that meat shield to shield for his lights to push up. My lights will take the first volley on his militia, and then he'll push his lights up to shoot my lights. But I'm prepared for that, and I'm going to counter. I'm going to push my lines up. They are going to take some fire, but it's going to force his lights back, and then I can re-push my lights back to the fore, and I'm going to have my other lines on the other side pushing up. And I know I do keep my lights in standard formation, and that is, like, a lot of people hate doing that, and I used to as well, but my lights, lights do shoot more accurately in standard formation, and they do reload quicker. So that's the payoff. But yes, you do get shot easier. So there is a downside to it too. But that's why I use this tactic to protect my lights. I kind of push them a little bit further back from my lines, and I force my lines up to protect, if you will. And I try to push them up to where they're just in range of the lights and not of his lines, so that I'm not getting fire from the lines, but that doesn't always work, of course. You can see the Swedish player is going to start shooting my flank, and now he's going to roll his lines forward, and I'll be able to get first volleys on his lines, and I'm going to be able to provide quite a bit of firepower on the first two lines that come up. So I'm going to dish pretty heavy damages to him on the first few volleys, but he's going to start evening that fight a little bit with the Swedish lines, also putting fire into my line on the flank, and all the Dragoons. You can see Swedish Dragoons and United Province Dragoons putting a lot of pressure on my lines there. But again, I got my lights in a position. They're not in a great position, so I'm going to have to keep pushing them forward, as I am shooting some into the hills, but I am shooting the line behind as well. This is providing me time to move my flanking force around, and you'll see Luke is providing two goons as well to flank, and here comes his two lines. And this is kind of a miscommunication that we had when I pushed my lines up. I wasn't sure what he was wanting to do, so he's now pushing his lines up, superior lines up, to go into melee with the United Provinces players, because they've spent their volleys, but I've been taking a lot of fire from all that with my lines, so I've rolled mine back. I wasn't seeing that he was bringing his lines through already, and now Luke is bringing his Dragoons up, but one of my lines is routed, so yeah, not good there, but Luke's lines are now going to provide some assistance to that flank. And you can see here I will be shifting my lines forward here again, but now he's got to reallocate all of his Dragoons to our flank because of the pressure we're putting there. So now Luke's going to be able to provide his Dragoons to put pressure on the center, and all of Captain Goat's Dragoons are going to have to roll to the flank to protect, because he sees the pressure that we're going to be putting there. So now we can start putting tremendous pressure on Captain Goat's center as he has to deal with what we're doing on the flank. Okay, so you can see the movements here in the center. Luke's going to be pushing his goons up a little bit further to get some shots in, or I think he misclicked one of the two, but his guys are walking kind of crazy, because I think he's at this point managing his Dragoons. You can see in the far back, top middle of the screen, his Dragoons in the on the flank. So he's managing quite both sides of the field right now. And you can see I did push my lights forward as well as my lines, and you can see the allocations. Now I do get the timing wrong with my cav. My cav is going to get there before my lines, so I'm going to take a little bit of fire for my cav, but I will be providing tremendous firepower back on him as soon as my line gets in there. So at this point you can see that all my lines are starting to arrive in the center here, and now I'm going to be able to put tremendous pressure on his flank here. So he's going to have to either try to absorb this as best he can, or he's going to need to pull back. You can see he's got some lines reallocating in the back, but he's going to start breaking here pretty quickly in this current state, because you can see through the alley here all the firepower I'm putting on him, and his line here in the center has broken, and now he's got his lights pretty much extremely vulnerable. He's got only one line and his lights there as he's pulling back, and they're kind of trapped up against the back of the hill. So we've got him in a pretty precarious situation, and you can see over here on the other side there is a lot of trade of fire, but they're shooting mostly hills, so that it's pretty much they're holding each other in place while the bulk of the fighting is taking place on the other flank. Okay. So I see that Luke's charged his Dragoons into this mess, so I'm going to go ahead and charge my Boltleys in because they are extremely good in melee and have a super high charge bonus. And instead of killing Luke's Dragoons, I'm going to opt to push into this mess that's in here. So I push my Cav in first to stick his men in place, so where I can get my Boltleys in there and then pull my Dragoons out. You can see here that I've got my men into the light Dragoons. I'm sorry, not the light Dragoons, but the light infantry. And here Luke is putting pressure on Chicken's left, but Chicken has won the advantage on the far flank. So our flank is in pretty good shape on the left, and our flank on the right is looking pretty scary at the moment. But Chicken's not taking advantage of it, probably as good as he could at the moment. So anyways, I'm going to be providing fire onto these Dragoons that are coming in to counter my force that's shooting up his lights. And you can see this massive Boltley party here. I love my Boltleys. They're laying down the United Provinces right now. Vive la France, baby. That's right. Taking it to them. You hear all kinds of gory stabbing here. It's pretty wicked. Okay, so I've broken his line on the flank. He's going to charge his general in, and I'm going to focus fire from my Dragoons onto his general to eliminate his general at this point. And I see that Goat's taking position at the highest point on the hill up here. So this is going to provide him with the advantage of having the high ground. And you can see over here we've broken all the lights and all the remaining forces in the center. So now this is going to put Chicken's right flank, our left flank of Chicken's, in serious jeopardy, as we have only 2 units left to deal with over there. So there you can see I've routed out his general, and he does bring his remaining Dragoons in to attack my Dragoons, and one of my Dragoons is going to rout pretty quickly, but I do end up getting his general here, yep, right there. And so that's going to provide a morale shock to the United Provinces players, men. And at this point I'm thinking they're going to break pretty easy because the general just died, so I'm going to continue to charge uphill, even though I should have probably stopped at that point, because my men are pretty tired. So it was a pretty bad move on my part. Now I have my lights focusing fire on the remaining forces of his on the right flank, and I'm not really doing much damage because of where I'm positioned. I'm hitting a little bit of the hills and the trees, so I'm going to have to force out of that. And you can see I'm reallocating my lines to protect against his Dragoons. Right now his Dragoons are really putting a hurting on me, and of course I've lost all mine at this point. So here we go in the trees. The remainder of his forces are routing off the field now, and now this leaves a clear path for me to be able to put pressure on Chicken's flank, as he is looking like Custer up there on that hill. And I am still laying chase to one of his line on the right. You can see the upper right hand of the screen. And his Dragoons are still charging in and out of my men as they charge up the hill. That's going to be bad for my guys. And now they're going to charge downhill on my guys. So I'm going to form squares. And here I'm reallocating to the flank as Chicken's going to be folding back. As you can see, the bulk of his forces on his left flank. Now, here we get, I throw this line into melee with this line here to hopefully break him so I can push through to that line behind before it starts laying fire on me. But that was really a bad move because he's got 2 Dragoons coming in on either side of me and just going to back charge me, and yeah, it's just not going to go so well for me, and that line is just not wanting to break that I'm in melee with there. So one of my bulklies now, with as tired as it is and the damage it's taken from all the units that it's been fighting, it's going to start wavering, but also his line is wavering. I'm trying to push that my lines through to his line before it can shoot, and luckily it doesn't get a volley off, and I do tag it with the line, so he's going to go ahead and push his men into the big mess to keep my guys stationary because his other line did rout. So his goal is to keep my lines there, so his Dragoons, you can see in the background, are firing into me and then charging into the back. After firing, then pulling out and rewind and doing the same thing. Over here, Chicken is on the hill where I can't shoot him, so I've got to put my lights up at close range and keep him pinned in so he did not push that flank of Luke, and Luke has really held that together really well over there. And now we are just kind of seeing the finishing touches on this game as I'm getting charged into my lights, and I'm going to shoot these guys as they plow into me. So yeah, we're coming to the end game here, and this was a very fun match. Great challenge. Again, Goat and Chicken are 2 very good players, and Luke is also a very good player. So this is a fun match between friends, and definitely had a lot of fun in this one. This is one of several games we played that day, and yeah, so I think unfortunately Chicken didn't play. No, Chicken played with us on the game. At the end of the day, we ended up playing against, or playing with Invicta, if you know that YouTuber, very good YouTuber, and unfortunately Captain Goat wasn't there for that one. Could have definitely used his help on that one, as we had a player on me and Invicta's side that was not so good, so kind of a throwaway fun game, but it was a fun game all the same too. But you can check out that match on his channel, Invicta Gaming. So anyway, yeah, that was a lot of fun, and yeah, so anyways, please like and subscribe. It does help the channel, and we will see you on the next match. I got a tourney match to put up still, and I've got some more of my French campaign that I'm going to be putting up as well here in the near future, and some other little videos that I have planned as well. So thanks again, everyone. Please again like and subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.